How many of you guys have heard of the game Grand Theft Auto, Fortnite, Call of Duty? How many of you guys actually play these games? About 97% of Americans play video games, but most importantly, 85% of these video games incorporate some sort of violence. Imagine you're me and your 5-year-old niece comes up to you with fake gun hands saying, "Pew, pew, pew, I'm gonna kill you," because you told her she had to stop playing with her toys and go take a bath. How would you feel? Would you want your niece to act that way? Where did she learn it from? Explanation: the video games she sees my brothers play. Violent video games ultimately lead to violent behavior in all ages. Studies show that violent video games increase aggressive behavior and aggressive thought. According to the American Psychological Association, high violent video game exposure is linked to delinquency, fighting in school and at free time, as well as criminal behavior. In another study done by the American Academy of Pediatrics, 400 studies showed a significant link between video game exposure and aggressive behaviors, aggressive thoughts, as well as angry feelings. Lastly, in a book by Craig Anderson called Violent Video Game Effects on Children and Adolescents, he surveyed about 430 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders, as well as their peers and their teachers. The survey assessed media habits as well as attitudes toward violence, and the results indicated that children who played video games early on in the school year changed to see the world in a more aggressive way, and also became more verbally and physically aggressive throughout the school year. The research is clear. Violent video games increase aggressiveness, but they also cause imitation. Whether played or watched, violent video games cause the players to imitate their actions. On December 14th, 2012, Adam Lanza walked into Sandy Hook Elementary and killed 20 first graders and six adults. An article written in BBC News about this tragedy stated that violent video games inspired Lanza's killing spree. He was a frequent first-person shooter fan, a type of video game that involves you being the shooter and killing other target and enemies. He played games such as Call of Duty and Resident Evil. FBI reports showed that Lanza was mentally ill, suffering from a variety of mental illnesses. And although that could have been the main cause of his crime, FBI agents are still acknowledging that violent video games were a contributing factor. I read another article in the Washington Post about a guy named Aaron Alexis. He was a gunman who went and shot up a Washington naval base and killed 12 people. He was another frequent first-person shooter fan and played games such as Halo and Resident Evil. This can be seen as an act of imitation because the gunman's killing strategies were seen in these video games. Lastly, William Buckner and his stepbrother Joshua Buckner, 2 Tennessee teenagers, told police they went into a locked room in their house and took rifles, and then proceeded to go outside and shoot at random passing vehicles, trying to imitate the game Grand Theft Auto. They are now facing an indefinite term in prison and are facing charges for homicide, endangerment, as well as assault for imitating a video game. Violent video games affect our mentality and our physicality, but the biggest downfall of all is how it affects our human morality. According to BBC News, a study conducted in Canada found that teenagers' ability to develop a sense of trust, empathy, concern for others, as well as a sense of right and wrong are all delayed by spending too much time playing violent video games. Violent video games cause others to think that the world is a violent and mean place. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, violent video games decrease the likelihood that a person will take action on behalf of a victim when violence is occurring. Entertainment violence feeds the perception that the world is a violent and mean place. Overall, according to the American Psychological Association Task Force on Violent Media, violent video games desensitize people and decrease pro-social behaviors such as helping others. My niece is only 5 years old, and she's already exhibiting these awful behaviors that she's learned from these violent video games. After all of this research, it's really hard not to associate violent video games with violent behavior. Violent video games increase aggressive thoughts and behavior, they cause imitation, and they desensitize humanity and empathy. The next time you watch you or one of your loved ones play a violent video game, remember what Matt Bevin, the governor of Kentucky, said. Violent video games decrease our dignity for humanity, the dignity of women, and the dignity of human decency. We are training our society to kill. Thank you.